surprise Ralph at their home when all of a sudden she is attacked. Ralph rushes home but makes it too late. Sue's attacker burns her to death, and Ralph finds the love of his life dead, along with a surprise that she was pregnant with their child. One of the most controversial Justice League stories put out by DC Comics is also one of their top-selling series. Identity Crisis by writer Brad Meltzer and artist Rags Morales continues to polarize fans today on whether the story was good, bad, and even necessary, with reviews from outlets like Comics Alliance calling it the comic that ruined comics, while other outlets like Comic Book Resources calling the miniseries a work of staggering genius. So what is Identity Crisis and why is it so controversial even to this day? Welcome to Draw and Talk. My name is Tyler and I'm an award-winning cartoonist with a series of my own called The Girl with the Megafist. In today's video, we're going to do a segment called Reader Weep on the book Identity Crisis. Warning, there will be some spoilers as well as some shocking subjects discussed. Okay, here we go. The DC Comics series Identity Crisis was serialized from June to December of 2004 and promised a DC Universe detective story unlike any other. What made it controversial? It dealt with some sensitive and controversial topics such as rape, murder, and mind-wiping of characters. To this day, readers of the series said that the story made every character in the DC Universe act out of character. So, what's the story? The story revolves around the investigation of the murder of Sue Dibney, wife of the superhero, the Elongated Man, Ralph Dibney. Through the investigation, we learn a deep, dark secret about the Justice League's past. At the beginning of the series, we are told a summary of the love story of Ralph and Sue and how they navigated their lives with Ralph's superhero identity. To showcase the love that Sue had for Ralph, he says, "She's met everyone. Batman, Flash, Arthur, Hal. She's even seen Hawkman with the hairy chest thing going on. Come on. She's looked directly into Superman's melt your heart baby blues, and she still chose me." We are then shown Sue preparing to surprise Ralph at their home when all of a sudden she is attacked. Ralph rushes home but makes it too late. Sue's attacker burns her to death, and Ralph finds the love of his life dead, along with a surprise that she was pregnant with their child. This is truly an intense story that deals with heavy themes, and Meltzer and Morales show us how this wave of violence affects all of the members of the DC Universe. Green Arrow is probably the main protagonist of this story and leads the plot throughout each issue, going against the main leaders of the Justice League like Batman and Superman. The first issue ends with the funeral of Sue Dibney, with every single hero from the DC Universe attending, and at the end assembling into their various teams to go and find the murderer. A few members, however, assemble in their own secret meeting and meet with Ralph, who demands them to help him find Dr. Light. Now immediately there's many questions on our minds as readers. How does Ralph know who the killer is, and what connects this group made up of Green Arrow, Black Canary, Hawkman, Zatanna, and the Atom? Ultimately, what we learn very soon is that this group has a dark secret that they've been holding deep within themselves for many years. In Green Arrow's words, it was a league within the league. What we learn is that many years ago, when the Justice League headquarters was on the satellite, the villain Dr. Light infiltrated their base and wandered about and found Sue Dibney alone. Although she called for help from the Justice League, Dr. Light still had time to attack her, and this is where it gets violent. He sexually assaults her. The League shows up and stops Dr. Light, but the damage has been done, and one of the darker moments in the DC Universe storylines has ended. Many fans stated that this storyline was an awful portrayal of females, and another version of fridging, which is a term used when storylines use the violence of women to move the plot for the male character forward. But the controversy of this series doesn't end here. Our characters decide to wipe Dr. Light's memory of who Sue Dibney is, but as well, make the decision to alter his personality completely. This decision divides the group, however they ultimately do it and have Zatanna lobotomize Dr. Light. Many fans believe that this was very unheroic of our characters. Not just that, but the story brought on even more violence to many characters, including Lois Lane, who almost had an attempt on her life, and Tim Drake, who ultimately loses his father in this investigation and left us with one of the most iconic and horrific splash pages ever drawn in a DC Comics story. Not just that, which I've said again, but we learn that our heroes go to great lengths to cover up their secret, by even wiping out the memories of their friends, including Batman, who witnessed them lobotomizing Dr. Light. In their effort to continue what they were doing, they had Zatanna wipe Batman's memory of the event when he witnessed them lobotomizing Dr. Light. Identity Crisis is a very intense story and extremely gripping from start to finish. We get to see the painful realities of being a superhero, the moral choices that they have to make, as well as the pain they go through together as a collective group. This book is filled with violence, sorrow, and betrayal amongst friends, and yet, like Green Lantern states at the end of the series, the League always endures. We get to see moments of vulnerability and desperation among characters like Batman, who asks his parents to watch over Sue Dibney and Tim Drake's dad. We see Green Arrow summon Hal Jordan's Spectre in an act of desperation to find the killer. We also see the rage that can occur when a group of collective good guys feel that they are losing and they need answers in fear of more violence. So, is Identity Crisis a read or weep? I'm going to say it's a definite read, and that once you're done reading it, you can decide whether it's a read or weep on your own, because ultimately, even to this day, this series is polarizing. In fact, when I asked my Twitter followers what they thought of the series, the response was everywhere from one of the worst things to ever happen to DC Comics to great event and story. The two best comments were from Greg Warnichak, who said, "Some good moments, but too many shouldn't have gone there ones." And from my friend Nicholas of the Ravensloft YouTube channel, saying, "When it first came out, I was an edgy teenager, and it was so edgy. I was hooked and couldn't believe that they were doing. But now, older and many years later, I'm not that enthralled by it anymore. It for sure set DC on a different path." My personal opinion, which I'll end this video with, is that I freaking loved this series, and revisiting it again for this video made me continue to love it. Read or weep? Definitely a read. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. What did you think of this video? Let us know in the comments. As well, thank you so much to my patrons who make it possible for me to make these videos. I'll see you guys with another one. Peace.